Do you guys like coffee? I love it, man, especially cold brew. And the one thing I can't stand is coffee that tastes burned, you know? Some of these corporate coffee companies source their coffee beans from multiple large farms. These beans undoubtedly have mold on them and need to be burned so they can use them in their batches. That sounds unhealthy and downright gross to me. I don't know about you. That sounds disgusting. The answer to this is Caveman Coffee Company. These guys are passionate about making great coffee from single source origin while focusing on quality and the health of their customers. Go to their website now and check out their nitro cold brew, their latte, their pumpkin spice, their MCT oil, and much, much more. You can head over to cavemancoffeeco.com and enter promo code ROCK at checkout to receive 15% off your order today. Again, that's promo code ROCK at checkout to receive 15% off. What were we talking about?
Shit.
Leonard Skinner. Jamming some Skinner, some fucking deep tracks. Yeah, you're right. You know, we were talking before. It's like, I don't really want to ever hear Sweet Home Alabama again. I mean, I'm sure I will. It's not a terrible song. It's a good song. I've just heard it way too much.
Yeah, if there's ever a song that's on the radio from Leonard Skinner, that's the one.
Yeah, well, yeah, they still do Freebird, and they play That Smell a lot.
Yeah, I like That Smell a lot.
And they play it's a strange song. It's a weird name. And then
Why?
Well, he's obviously referring to cocaine.
I do cocaine.
Well, that song is about Gary Rossington because he crashed his car, you know. There's a picture of him after that accident happened. And, you know, oak tree, you're in my way. He ran into an oak tree. And he's in a cane. You know, he's walking with a cane and shit. Those guys were rough, dude. They were beat up. They were the real deal, man. There's no doubt. There's plenty of pictures of Ronnie Van Zant with 2 black eyes and shit, broken ass fucking hands wrapped up and stuff.
Yeah.
They didn't fuck around. There's a crazy picture of him with a fucking big ass shiner and Linda Blair from The Exorcist. Check that out.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like, she used to hang out with him and shit.
Maybe she dotted his eye.
No, it was, you know, definitely a fucking scrap. That dude used to fucking fight. But, yeah, man, the deep tracks of the original band, some of that shit is really good, dude. Double Trouble, man. That's a funky jam.
Things going on. I ain't the one. Mississippi Kid.
Nobody ever listens to that fucking song. That song's great. That's on the first album. Shit, man. Shit, man. Tuesday's Gone. I don't hear Tuesday's Gone too much, but I did hear that on the radio a few weeks ago.
Everybody loves Tuesday's Gone. Come on, man.
Tuesday's Gone. Now, I don't like Gimme 3 Steps. Yeah, it's not a great jam.
I like it.
I don't like it that much.
You know what's one of my favorite songs?
I Need You, dude.
Oh, what's the name of it?
Swamp Music, dude.
All I Can Do Is Write About It.
Oh, yeah.
Dude,
Well,
that's the jam.
And we talked about this on the last podcast. That is an environmental song. He's talking about the environment. Yeah, that's a good jam. There's a couple different studio versions of that because I think they recorded that at Muscle Shoals before they got famous.
Saturday Night Special.
Yeah.
On the Hunt.
Dude, fucking Cheating Woman. Damn, son, with that fucking B3 Hammond. That's a fucking jam, dude. Am I Losing? Yeah, that's great shit, too.
Needle in the Spoon.
Needle in the Spoon,
Don't ask me no questions.
Yeah.
I won't tell you no lies.
Yeah. Fuck. I gotta go back and listen to all that. Ballad of Curtis Lowe's on that record. Damn. Good shit, dude.
There's one of their tunes. Coming Home's a great tune.
Coming Home's awesome. Yeah, that's a Muscle Shoals song. They recorded that before.
Mr. Banker.
I Never Dreamed, dude. That's a love song, man. Started to grow up around the end there.
Roll Gypsy Roll.
Roll Gypsy Roll. That's fucking great, too. Georgia Peaches. There's another one. One More Time, dude. That's on Street Survivors. That's good shit too, and that's also a Muscle Shoals song that they did. It was their last record. Some of that was recorded early on, and they brought the tapes in and kind of polished them up for that last album. I didn't know that.
You know what song is my least favorite Leonard Skinner song?
I don't know.
He's Alive.
Oh, yeah. That's early shit.
That's really bad.
He was talking about his dad or some shit.
No, maybe. I thought it was just about God.
Remember that? It could have been. Remember that, that fucking, what's that fucking song called?
It's very gospel-y. He's Alive is.
Damn. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that box set. It came out in the early 90s. I think we both had that, didn't we?
Yeah, I still got it.
I still got mine somewhere. Packed away in boxes somewhere. Got a few of the old vinyls. I need to just get all the old Skinner shit on vinyl. The live album. Whiskey Rock and Roller, dude. What the fuck? Great jam. Traveling Man, dude. Damn.
You could go on.
On and on and on and on. All those songs are fucking great.
I think we talked about Leonard Skinner on the last podcast.
We did, because, that's why I started listening to him again, because we talked about that.
Yeah.
And that was, the anniversary of the plane crash. I was like, you know what? I haven't listened to Skinner in a long time. I'm going to have to check these guys out again. Just get down into it. And I have been.
Yeah, that's one of the ones that you kind of have to...
put down and pick back up.
Yeah, and you got to listen to a bunch of Skinner.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you can't just hear one track, because there's so many.
Yeah, so you just got to let them... what it does for me is, like, I'll listen to a deep track and I was like, oh, then this shit right here next to it. And I'm like, oh my God, yeah, it's so good, dude. There's a reason why they're so fucking famous. Yeah, man. Maybe next weekend we won't talk about Leonard Skinner.
Well, I think that...
Who knows?
They do this. They have similar style than, fucking King Buffalo. Real jammy.
They don't sound like King Buffalo.
Obviously.
But, yeah.
Long songs.
Jams, dude. Yeah, we're going to talk to Sean McVay of King Buffalo. At least I hope. We're going to call him up here in a minute. One of my new bands that I like a lot. I've heard their name a lot. But, it's one of those things. We'll talk to him about it. I have a lot to say on that kind of thing. They toured The Sword and Elder and those kind of bands, great bands, dude. I mean, everybody knows here that listens to this that we're huge Sword fans. So, and they were supposed to be coming back, but not yet. Not yet.
New record is Dead Star.
Dead Star, yeah.
Kind of like Death Star. Maybe they're Star Wars fans.
We should ask. People are like, no, dude. That fucking shit
Podcast
sucks.
goes straight to the fucking toilet.
We were just wondering. He hangs up on us. Nobody's hung up on us yet. Something to be proud of.
Well, maybe we got to work on that.
We can make that happen. Like, we get forced into talking to a band we don't really want to talk about or talk with, Because
we should start leading off with, what are you wearing?
all of the bands that we talk to, we want to talk to. Like, we've been approached by so many bands, and I'm like, I don't have any interest in talking to you guys. And it's nothing against them. I'm not going to name names, but it's just like, I don't know. I have to be interested in having a conversation, The more we do this, I'm sure the bigger that's going to become an issue. But I don't know. Is that shitty of me? I just, maybe
you can't give them a platform, Bo. No, I see it though. I mean, it's like you don't want to waste your time and their time.
I'm not faking. We're not faking it. We're talking to people that seem interesting to us, and I'm not saying we won't do it ever, but I mean, I'm interested in having conversations with people. So as long as they're easy to talk to, I guess it doesn't really matter, right?
Yeah, we did have that one guy who, like, tried to set up an interview, but he was all shitty about it. And he's like, I don't even really want to do this. I'm like, okay, we're not gonna then.
Yeah, right. Why would we want to talk to you?
If that's your perspective, then let's not do it.
Yeah, he said this kind of stuff was boring to him, and I'm like, yeah, the stuff we do is boring to you, and we're not gonna say who. I mean, maybe we did already. I don't know, but yeah, I'm like, okay, then like you said, let's not waste each other's time,
right,
sir? Sir, let's go ahead and give Sean a call. See what's up. See if he answers. I'm sure he will. Shit. Yeah, the trials and tribulations of podcasting.
Yeah, podcast world.
Hashtag podcast life.
You should. What's his phone number again?
I only said 2 numbers. Everybody,
Call Sean.
Hello?
Sean.
Yes. Hi, is this working?
It's Bo from the Rock Savages podcast, man. How are
And
you?
Paul.
Yeah. I'm just making sure my audio is working. I'm actually doing it through my computer because my headphones and just the way it's set up, it would be a little more comfortable than with my phone. So I wanted to make sure it was working.
So you're almost a podcaster too. You sound like it.
Yeah, good. I kind of want to make sure it sounded good.
Yeah,
we're good.
Cool.
Sounds good, man. Thanks for talking to us, man. I got to confess, we're new fans of the band. I've been listening pretty obsessively for the last month, and I don't know. I just happened upon King Buffalo on it was like an Apple Music like playlist. Like they do those playlists for you, like bands that they think you'll like, and Repeater came on. And I'm like in the house just meandering around, doing whatever normal, boring people do. And I just walked in the living room. I was like, what is this? This is fucking great. And then I listened to it again. And then I just, it was a snowball downhill. I was just like, okay, I'm getting all of this stuff and been listening intently ever since, man.
Well, that's cool, man. I'm glad you dig it.
Yeah, it's
good stuff.
Yeah, pretty damn good stuff. What are you guys up to now?
Trying to just get by the best we can with the state of the world being on fire.
Right.
But we're working on a bunch of new stuff. We hopefully soon we'll be able to have some really exciting announcements for people as far as plans for releases and stuff coming up in the next year.
Where are you guys out of, Sean?
We're out of Rochester, New York.
Cool. Things are crazy up there then? Or are you guys just hold up like the rest of us?
Things are crazy everywhere. It's pretty level-ish here. Things have kind of leveled off a little bit, which has been pretty good. As we still can't can't perform.
Yeah, no music.
Things like that, and even if they told us we could, I don't know how comfortable I'd feel doing it at the moment.
Right.
You guys got restaurants and open shit like that open?
Yeah, limited capacity, but mostly like outdoor stuff. I know, like we actually just had, I think the number is like 400 new cases since Tuesday, and we're a small city, so that's kind of a big jump coming up here. So. Who knows how long that things might have to take a step back here, but that's the state of the world.
Yeah, New York's pretty more. They're more locked down. You guys have had a lot more than a lot of the states. It's insane, man. I never thought I'd live through something so insane like this. It's pretty nuts, man. It's kind of heartbreaking, especially a band at your guys' level, because it really seemed like before all this, like, you were starting to really kind of take off. You're starting to do the bigger tours and,
momentum, yeah.
Yeah, a band on your level, you need that momentum. How are you guys dealing with that? We've been talking to a lot of the bands. Everybody's kind of affected the same way. Except, the smaller bands, I think it's taking a higher toll on them. And I'm just curious to see how everybody is doing and how you guys are coping with it, I guess.
Yeah. Honestly, we've kind of been really floored with the amount of support we've gotten just through people online. Like, we've if anything, our our engagement numbers online have gone up,
Yeah.
which is really great. Obviously, it's not at all a replacement for touring and playing live, but that was really, we weren't really expecting that. We weren't sort of expecting like the outpouring of support. And I know, like you said, like every band is in the same position, so it's not like it's affecting. It's not like it's an unfair playing field for everyone. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
we're all kind of feeling it in the same way. And I think one thing that's been really, maybe hasn't been, I haven't heard talked about, is like it's very genre specific. I think too. Like the music we play, our fans are so loyal and passionate about it that I don't think we. And maybe this is me just being an optimist, and I don't want to sound like I'm taking anything for granted, but I feel like once this all gets sorted out and we're able to get back to some sort of level of normal, I think people are going to be right back there once they feel like safe enough. Once the safety concerns are gone, I don't predict a lack of, like, I don't think that rock music and live shows are going to die from this, outside of like the financial problems of venues being able to stay open and that sort of thing.
Right. It might be a case of people, of some of these clubs going under and then somebody else buying them back up.
Yeah, I mean, there's a need. There's people are going to want, and I think I really do think once this passes, I am almost expecting a boom of people that maybe forgot how much they liked going to concerts and things like that. Maybe they're like, man, I sat around and watched Netflix on Friday night for a fucking year now, man. Like I'm going to a show,
Right.
So I don't know, like maybe that's just me being overly optimistic. Of course we have to get to that point before any of this can happen. And who knows, right as it stands right now, we're going the wrong way. So I don't know. I guess what I'm saying is I don't think it's as far as like what we do, I don't feel like there's an axe over our heads.
Right.
So I feel very hashtag blessed for that, as far as that goes.
If anything, 2020 has gave us plenty of shit to write about.
Yeah.
There's a lot of more time spent writing and a lot of more material to write in my experience so far.
Yeah, we're musicians too, and we're doing the same thing. We're just kind of holing up and writing a bunch of material. It's like,
don't you find it's almost harder though? Like I find to me it's almost harder. Like, how do you like things that you used to be able to write about, that like state of the world or whatever, you could write about things in an ambiguous way, and it would these outlandish scenarios, but like now, like we're in the outlandish scenario.
Right.
Like how do you go farther than where we are? I don't know.
You've never heard some of our lyrics, bro. You got to go real far off the reservation.
yeah.
What is he even talking about right there?
Cool.
I
guess I have to send something our way.
Yeah. I guess maybe you just got to dive into books and literature and see if you can harvest anything out of that, or movies. I don't know, man. It's a good question. Or get out into nature. I mean, that's all I've been doing.
Yep. Yeah.
So where's the King Buffalo vibe come from? I mean, King Buffalo, was that an agreed upon name, or is that someone from Buffalo? I don't want to dig too.
The name, man.
Yeah.
We did all right, so we're all from Rochester, and when we formed, we needed a name in a hurry because we were going on the road we actually formed to fill dates for Scott, our drummer's old band. And so we initially didn't have this idea of becoming King Buffalo or becoming a band, but we just started writing songs instead of really rehearsing. And we're like, hey, I don't know, this is pretty cool. Maybe we should be a band. And then we needed a name, so we made a giant list of like 40 or 50 names, and we just took turns crossing stuff off until we got to like a top 3.
Yeah.
And King Buffalo ended up being the one that like we all hated equally, or I guess
right, the least. Yeah.
Hated the least. Yeah, I hated the least, and it was like, that's the name, and now every time, for a while there, it was like, but you're not even from Buffalo, man, or and it was really funny too, because early on we used to tour around in a Buffalo Bills like party van,
Nice.
so like everyone thought, it was always like you're from Buffalo, which is fine. Like I had nothing against Buffalo. Buffalo's not that far away, really, in the grand scheme of things, but it was just goofy. I don't know.
Yeah, right.
That's the name.
I know how that goes. I've been in that band where you agree to the name. At least you guys were able to stick to it, because it seems like we'd do that. We'd settle on a name and then be like, "That's it for now."
Right. Yeah.
If we think of something better, maybe. But once you put it down on a CD, that's just it.
Yeah, you're stuck with it,
Or CD.
Yeah, totally. And like,
what's that?
Changing the name might as well change the band. Like
Right.
no one. It's hard to get anyone to like follow over. It's like, I don't know. I guess Prince could kind of do it, but he changed to a symbol.
Yeah.
So,
But at that point, everybody knew who Prince was. I mean, he could have done whatever the fuck he wanted.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He had the money. Well, I don't know, dude. King Buffalo can conjure up some pretty cool imagery if you.
No, I think it's a great name. I'm glad you guys settled on it. It's fucking cool.
Well, thanks, man. And it is funny because like when people would ask us about it, like, oh, is this have to like, are you saying you guys are the King of Buffalo or something? And it was like, honestly, dude, we didn't even think about it. We just thought the image of like I don't know, like a shaman or something.
Yeah, that's where I was going with Native American.
Like the imagery of it, Like thought the imagery was cool, and that like buffaloes is an animal too. It's not just a city, man.
Right.
Right.
That's and you got that's the King Buffalo, motherfuckers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like us, we are the King Buffalo. That's cool, man. But I mean, it seems like a lot of thematic, like in your lyrics, it's like a lot of cosmic kind of stuff going on. Where do you get that kind of inspiration for the lyrics?
I mean, I don't know, like space and nature is cool, and it's also easy to use those things as devices for talking about other things more specific to the human experience.
Right.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's easy to. I think it's easy to use those as sort of like vehicles for telling a story. Looking around, looking at nature, or looking up at the sky, and there's so much, especially with space. There's so much crazy shit that goes on out there that's like mind blowing.
Yeah, if you think about it too much, you'll be like, "What are we doing? This is insane."
Yeah.
I get it completely, man. I mean, all this going down, that's all I've done personally is I've just go out. We're in Ohio, so we have like, national parks and state parks all over the place. So I just hit the trails, man. It's like I am not sitting in this house. I'm going to get out and get right with myself one way or the other. So I guess in that sense, talking about nature and that aspect, it's relatable to a lot of people, and I think a lot of people now are kind of doing the same thing. I think being all cooped up is unnatural, and there's another pandemic going on, and it has to do with mental health and mental illness, and after a while going through something like this, it's like you got to do something, man. It's like a survival tactic. We got to get out to where we naturally belong anyway. So I mean, maybe that's why I kind of connected so much to the band a lot. It's like, wow, it's just what it is to me. Your kind of music, and I was explaining this to Paul before we called you up, but it was, it's all your music is almost like a meditative state, because it's long songs and it's a lot of it's really drony, but it gets you. There's a lot of noise going on out in the world, and I think in a lot of people's heads, So to listen to this kind of music kind of gets you to kind of subconsciously focus.
Yeah, escapism.
Yeah, on a kind of like a meditative
visualization
kind of rhythm in a state,
something else.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I for a while I was describing us as like the feeling of like a warm fuzzy blanket in space. Like I kind of like the idea of it being the kind of music that you put on your headphones or put on the record and you're on your hi-fi and you kind of melt into your couch for 40 minutes and then you're done.
Right.
So that's definitely, especially for albums like or the EP Repeater, like that was like fully conscious effort, is to make it the kind of thing you can just kind of close your eyes to, and then you wake up and you're like, wait, what was that? Was that 25 minutes? What just happened? You know?
Yeah.
So we were having a little discussion about the what we perceived, or speculating on the songwriting process. Can you maybe give us a little insight? I said I felt like you guys were writing around a basic pattern, and then you kind of structured it to the I guess the time signature or the beat, and both felt that you were writing more around the lyrics. Can you maybe share a little light on how your guys' writing process goes?
Yeah. Are you talking in general or for a specific?
We were
song,
talking about
or?
Repeater at that point.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah. So, Repeater, that was just a jam. That and one of the things that I really enjoy with music is taking something like stupidly simple, and using that as the building block. I mean, you could take you mentioned those being kind of drony. You can take 1 to 2 notes, and if you repeat them enough, they become their own sort of tonality, and then you can do little things to switch it to make that interesting. So Repeater was just, I kind of came up with that little octave thing, and we just jammed on it for like 20 something minutes, and eventually, there were no vocals to it at the time. Cut it down a little bit, and then I would kind of we'd jamming, and I'd mumble some things, kind of hum along.
Yeah, melody.
Yeah, and then the vocals always come last, pretty much in all of our songs.
That's what I felt.
So once we kind of had the structure kind of there, excuse me, once we had the structure pretty close, then I'll go in and really start focusing on like melodies and lyrics, vocal melody and lyric stuff.
Is that typically how you guys write?
For the most part, we've late on some of the, Longing to Be the Mountain had some stuff that was a little different, that was a little more like, I guess I came in with a guitar part and a loose vocal part that was like, hey guys, what do you think of this? Some stuff on our latest record, Dead Star, there was things that I wrote at home and then brought to the band, and we worked on together after that. But I would say about 90% of our catalog is all stuff that's just jams that we carve into the finished product of the song.
Ben from All Them Witches produced Longing to Be the Mountain, right?
He did, yeah, and he played acoustic guitar on Morning Song.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite songs you guys do too, man. That whole album is great. But how did that relationship start?
Scott, our drummer, actually knew them from his previous band. His previous band had met them on the road once or twice, and that first tour that I mentioned was actually with All Them Witches. I think it might have even before they released Lightning at the Door. They might have just recorded it. I don't even know if it was released yet. And so Scott and Ben, I think, had set it up, which is part of the reason why Scott wanted to fill those tour dates after the band that was supposed to do it fell apart. So we did that. We formed, and like within a month wrote our demo and became a band and went on the road with them. I borrowed my uncle's RV. We bummed around the U.S. All I guess 8 of us at the time. It was us and All Them Witches when they were a 4-piece. We were both 4-pieces.
Wow.
We all piled into my uncle's RV and just schlepped around, and it was great, man. Now we're homies for life.
Yeah, that's great, dude. That's the life. You guys are young, right? Like 20s?
At the time, yeah. So this would have been like 2013.
Oh wow, that long ago.
So yeah, I guess mid to late 20s, all of us.
Yeah, man. We all did the same kind of shit. That's the life.
Yeah,
dude.
man.
Where you just reckless abandon, go out in an RV or a van and just burn it down, dude. I mean that.
Yeah, I definitely fucked up my uncle's RV a bit on that tour. And it's funny because we see where All Them Witches ended up. Like they're playing massive shows now and killing it. And it's funny, like on that tour, like no one was there. No one came. So it was just like really, it was really just fun. It wasn't lucrative in any way, really.
Right.
It was just
Yeah, probably
It was
costing
cool.
money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I don't even know if I didn't even think about it. It didn't pay any attention to it. It was like, no, we got to go do it, man. And it was really fun.
Right. I mean, All Them Witches is like the band that I point to nowadays. Like, if you want to make it in the music industry, I mean, that's what you have to do. I mean, they've released 6 albums in like 7 years or some shit. And they've been starving in a van, just grinding, grinding, grinding. It's like, yeah, now it's finally starting to pay off. It seems like you guys are kind of have that same work ethic because I mean, you've been nonstop. It seems like for the last few years until this happened. So, I mean, that's how you got to do it, right? I mean, there's no other way for this type of music.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I don't know. Some people think this sounds a little like, I don't know, jaded, but I mean, the reality is, as a rock musician now, like you're essentially a glorified t-shirt salesman.
Right.
So, you get into it for the music, but in order to make it like viable, you have to be slinging merch. So the whole thing is like, if you're not touring and getting in front of people every night to sell them a t-shirt or sell them a CD, you're going to struggle. And so that's the biggest thing is just you have to tour.
I think that's the dirty little secret about the music industry in general. I mean, it's pretty much always been it for, rock music for the last fucking 40 years. That's where your money's made. If you're not touring, you're sitting around.
I mean, because there's no money in the records, right? I mean, you guys aren't getting in royalties from that, are you?
No, well, for us, like we're unsigned. Like we have a label that distributes our stuff in Europe,
Right.
and they're fantastic. And it's very much more like a partnership than like the traditional sort
Right.
of label ownership thing.
Right.
So like when we sell a record, we get the profit,
You get all of it. Yeah.
which is great. Yeah. Instead of getting like, you know, what, 2% of 3%,
Right.
some crazy shit like that, So we're fortunate like that. Granted, not having a label has its limitations as well. Like,
Sure.
we're not able to reach the same audiences or distribution outlets that people on labels are, but we get to keep. So it's also really rewarding. Like, we pay to press the records ourselves. Like all that shit's like our babies,
Right.
So when we sell something, we keep the profit.
Right.
So while we might only move, a fraction of what other bands move, because, with the help of their label, we're able to keep 100% of what we make, which is,
Right.
really great for us.
Right. I mean, another band that did that is Rival Sons, dude. I mean, they signed to Earache Records and somehow got it to where they're just licensing all of their stuff to Earache, and they're like, yeah, we own everything still, and they blew up and they're sitting pretty now. I mean, because now they're signed to Atlantic Records, but I'm sure they have some kind of similar deal to that. I mean, between them and All Them Witches. It's like there you go, guys. That's how you do it. You hold on to the control of your music and your art. I think that's probably and like you said, it's probably the harder path, but you're keeping a bigger percentage of a smaller piece of pie. But that's probably going to get you through.
Yeah, it definitely helps. I mean, we go through. I don't know. Who knows? Like someday we might end up on a label if the deal's right, and that's great. So I don't want to sound like I'm knocking the model at all,
Sure.
but we haven't
Right.
really had the offer that we felt we really wanted yet at the time. And that's fine. We
Yeah.
respect. We know that they're running a business too. So yeah. I don't know. I guess it's tough. I mean, everyone knows the music business is tough.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have done 2 full lengths and some EP stuff. Are you going to go more like the EP length? Because you can get away with it. You guys can put 3 songs on an EP and it's a half hour long.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, we just did Dead Star that topped out at 37 minutes, which is, that's about a full length by a lot of people's standards.
Right.
Which it didn't intend, but when we started it, we didn't intend to have it be that long. And really, we kind of called it an EP just because we didn't put the same, like, lead time and like sort of marketing push that we would put for a full length
Right.
on it. So we're just like, okay, well, yeah, well, we had started this idea as an EP, even though the length grew like almost doubled. We will just continue to call it an EP and move on. Who knows? I think we're going to have some crazy, I think we might have a lot of news for 2021 as far as releases go. Whether or not like the formats, not 100% sure yet, and I don't want to say anything too early, but I don't know. The EPs are fun. We treat them a little more experimentally than we do the full lengths.
Right. That makes sense.
So like Repeater we're like, I don't know, let's just get weird, and then we did, and then Longing to Be the Mountain we did after that, and that was more like, let's get weird, but also like, I don't know, did it with like the whole album format in mind. And then Dead Star, we also were like, yeah, let's get real weird on this one and try some things. And again, because we were planning on it being an EP and not sinking like a ton of paying for PR or whatever,
right.
all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's I mean, there's so many different ways of doing it. Our friends in the Cold Stairs, it's like they're like a 2-piece from Evansville, Indiana. You guys actually could tour together. It'd be a very good match. But what they've been doing is recording a bunch of songs, like 6 or 10 of them, and they'll just release them as singles like once a month. And then they make it a full length after that. They put all of them together, and then you can buy the album. I think that's probably a pretty good idea too, because you're getting that constant content, and it's new stuff constantly.
Yeah, I mean, I think especially it's going to be interesting. I think 2021 is going to be real wild because there's all these bands that haven't been able to tour.
Right.
I'm sure everyone is working on stuff right now.
It is.
So. It's gonna be pretty wild to see all the releases coming out next year.
Yeah, it's gonna be almost like crowded space. It's like everyone's gonna want to go out and tour. And usually, from my experience as a fan, like an outsider looking in, and a musician, it's like you go like on a show cycle, and then you go on an album cycle. So there's a bunch of bands touring at the same time, and a bunch of bands kind of recording around the same time. So it's kind of like an ebb and flow, but now everybody's probably recording and everyone's going to want to tour next year. It might be, you're right, dude. It might be a rock and roll renaissance next year, and we can only hope,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, like it's to sit around and think that it's over and done. I don't know. You're talking about the pandemic with mental health. Like, I don't know how that could be, helpful in any way. So I just choose. There's plenty of things to be pessimistic about. I think the one of the things to be really optimistic about is the state of rock music in general, especially like sort of psychedelic stoner rock stuff. Like the people that are into it are so damn into it. And I don't think like just because they weren't able to go to a show for a year, I don't think that means they're gonna be done,
Well, I'm definitely not done. I'm going to every show I can as soon as I can.
Yeah,
no doubt.
Yeah, it'll be cool. And you're talking about that model of a song, releasing a song every week or month or whatever you said, and then leaning it up and having that be the full length. And was it a couple of years ago? It was almost like King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard did something like that, but they just released like 6 full lengths in a year. It was something outrageous, and like they kind of broke the music, the traditional model there for a little bit, because they were just like releasing stuff and getting bigger and bigger with each release, which a lot of labels would say like, absolutely not, you can't release that, you're stomping on the release before it, all this stuff, things are going to get buried. But it really worked for them, and I wonder now with the way the internet is and the way everything being shut down, if that is going to be more the model of just you got to put out content.
Yeah, I think so, and it sucks we have to talk about songs and music and as content. That's just the reality of it. There's so much out there. Like, I'm surprised I hadn't listened to you guys like a couple years ago, because we're deeply embedded in the scene. I mean, we're huge fans of The Sword. We've seen them a bunch of times live. Elder, the bands, All Them Witches.
We've been listening to them forever.
Maniacs, and it's just like we're just now getting to you guys, and I think it's just because it's not anybody's fault. It's just there's so much shit coming at us all the time that it can get lost in the mix. So it might be the way to go,
Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's hard to say if it's like a chicken and egg scenario. I mean, granted, they had success before. You know, they were more than they had a name for themselves before they did that of just releasing a ton of stuff.
Right.
And it helped that it was all good and it was all different and unique. You know, it wasn't like they released the same record every month or two. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's interesting. I think that can be kind of exciting because that is a lot of the fun, right? Is like writing and creating, and touring is fun in a different way.
Definitely.
So when you can't tour, you got to figure out a way to, you know, keep having fun.
Do you guys jam in a room together, or are you kind of all separate?
We are lucky enough. We have a massive practice space. I want to say it's like 30 feet by 30 feet or something. It's
wow.
pretty damn big. And so we are in our space. We stay pretty far apart. You know, because people still have jobs and stuff. And I know Scott has a kid in school, so there's definitely a little bit of room for concern. So we wear masks and stay as safe as we can, but we are able to get up in there and practice and perform and write.
That means you just got to turn it up a little bit louder.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Boo-hoo.
it's our practice space is also our studio, so we have like headphones and stuff like that. We have the means to like hear things while, you know, far apart and stuff. So
I see you play the Hagstrom a lot. That's a sweet guitar. What do you typically use for your amplifier? You got some great tones.
Yeah, I have been pretty much a strictly Fender Twin guy for I don't know. I mean, those are the only amps I own really that ever get used. I have a 73 Twin. That's my main amp that I tour with. And then I have a 72 dual Showman reverb, which is just a twin and a head.
Yeah.
You know, twin and head form that I use through either a 2x12 or a 1x15, and those are the only two amps that ever end up on a King Buffalo record.
Nice. And you guys record all your own stuff on your own?
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah. Like I said, our rehearsal space is our studio. For Longing to Be the Mountain, Ben did come up with to produce, and he brought he had Grant Husselman, who was doing sound he was the front of house guy for All Them Witches at the time. Now he's our front of house guy, or was before COVID. But at the time he was doing it for them, and he came up and kind of handled the recording engineering aspect of it. And then so they came up for a week, and we did all of the band, like the rhythm tracking, all the drums, bass, and most of the guitars. And then they left, and I did all the vocals and synth and any overdubs, and then mixed it. So that's the only album that we've had any outside hands on for recording and mixing and stuff.
Yeah, I can picture you guys with like Dave Cobb. That needs to happen. You need to make that happen.
What's that?
I can picture you guys like working with Dave Cobb, like the producer Dave Cobb out of Nashville one day.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be cool. Man. We've never, I mean, you know, Ben produced it, but he was also like a good friend of ours. So it was like collaborating with a friend of ours. It wasn't like we hired a producer.
Right.
So that's, I'll be perfectly honest. It's a little scary, you know, the idea, you know, the idea of us like just, I don't know. We have a process that we've used in our own way for a while, and you know, I would never say no to anything before like exploring it more. But I don't know. We have a pretty good workflow right now, and I don't know. I'm looking forward. Like I said, we got some new things happening, and that are pretty exciting. That I really hope we can announce soon.
That's important to know that, and you know, that's why I know you guys are doing it for the right reasons. I mean, somebody like Chris Cornell was saying, you know, they hired a producer for Super Unknown and they didn't even listen to him because it's like nobody knows how to make a Soundgarden record better than us, you know, and that's the right rationale behind that, you know.
Well, and even like beyond that is there's so like I said, since we do it all ourselves, you know, we're not on the clock. There's no pressure. There's no like, oh shit, I gotta nail this take, otherwise we're gonna have to go over another hour, and pay the producer and the studio another, like there's
Right.
none of that. We have infinite time and infinite freedom to do whatever we want, and we've never made a record as King Buffalo in like a finger quote like professional um setting like that.
Right.
So even if the producer had the greatest intentions and really like knew us and knew our sound and everything, I think it'd be hard, at least for me. I can't speak for the other two guys in the band, because Scott has recorded with other bands before. I couldn't like, I know for me, it'd be hard to separate out, like, and feel like fully relaxed.
Right.
I think I'd be a little bit like, you know oh man, I better not fuck this up.
Right. That's exactly how it is too, man. I completely relate to that and understand it, because I mean, me and Paul have been playing off and on together for, I don't know, man, 25 years maybe, and we've been in separate bands too, and we're kind of out of place artistically. It's like, I don't think anybody's going to be able to tell us what to do, because it's an expression, and you sound like you're in the same boat. It's like, we know what we're doing here. And you got the proof, because the work you already have behind you. It's like, there's the argument. You probably don't need anybody. Just keep doing what you're doing, because it's great.
Yeah, it's funny because everything, like I said, I record, and I'm the guy that mixes everything and does all that. So there are definitely a lot of times where, like, I almost want someone to come and tell me what to do, but then, like, you want someone to come and tell you what to do until you don't want someone to come and tell you what to do. You know what I mean? It's the kind of thing. It's like, yeah, when I'm smashing my head over whether or not this snare sound sucks, I want someone to come and tell me that it's fine.
Right. It's the drummer's job, dude. It's like, I love that snare drum, bro.
You can fix it in the mix. Fuck it.
You can nowadays. There's very little disparity sometimes nowadays with some of this technology, man. It's nuts. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah, no, it almost gives you too much freedom, and so like I was saying, you can end up running around in circles without someone to reel you in sometimes.
Yeah, and that's true. And I was sitting with Bo the other day, and we were going over the song we've been working on, and there's just endless possibilities this one part we wanted to make. We were actually bringing in some keys, and we couldn't nail down the tone, because we went from piano to keys, and I was like, well, what if we tried and did it on banjo? And it was just a million different things, and I just had to walk away.
Yeah, we'll come back to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I mean, sometimes taking a step back is like, the way to go.
Yeah.
And I did forget to mention, like I said, we do everything ourselves. I did have Grant Hulsman, who recorded, engineered for Longing to Be the Mountain. He did mix Dead Star. And that was a lot of it because, like, we were coming down to the wire when we wanted to release it. And I was at that point where I was running in circles, and I was like, I don't know what the fuck is going on, man. Like, I hate this fucking thing. Like, this sounds like shit. I can't tell, is this even good? What's going on? And finally I was just like, dude, Grant, I think this needs to leave my hands, because
Right.
I'm like at my wit's end. Can you do it? And he absolutely killed it, and we were so stoked with the job he did. But yeah, there's sometimes, especially with the world of Pro Tools and everything being digital and lossless and all this amazing stuff, is you can easily go down rabbit holes that are really hard to dig out of.
Right. And it might ruin it, if you're not careful. I guess at the end of the day, just put the mics up and you go for it, and keep it as natural as you possibly can, aside from like overdubs and stuff. I don't know what, like
I don't
you
know
said,
if there's a a process that you can just say this is the template.
right.
And I think
There's
everybody's going to write differently and add differently. So I've been working with Bo trying to work on actually trying to write to a signature versus we're very riff oriented. We kind of have, I think, a similar writing process where I bring in a riff, and we just try. It kind of evolves into everything's fucking 7 or 8 minutes for us as well. And I'm like, this was supposed to be a 3.5 minute song. I just wanted to kind of bang through it and have something a little shorter in our catalog.
And why though? There you go. It's like, why? We're gonna be on the radio, guys? No, fuck it. Make it 7 minutes. Yeah, man. I mean, I think you guys are probably a jam band live. Like I watched a couple of your videos, and I'm like, they're a jam band sort of. I mean, not you're not really going out there on a limb. It's pretty to the structure of the song, but it's like those 10-minute songs. It's like that feels good, especially.
Yeah, I mean, dude, totally. I don't know, like all the like killer bands of the '70s that I grew up listening to, like they were jam bands, man. Like Black Sabbath was a jam band. People don't really think of them that way, but if you were to see Black Sabbath back in the day, they were a fucking jam band.
Absolutely,
those songs
dude.
were stretched out and they were just going for it. And Zeppelin was a jam band. The Hendrix Experience was a jam band. Band of Gypsies was a jam band. These were all bands that were just going, and like they had songs, but their shows, they you stretch them out, you make them fun, and it's hard to expect people to want to come and see you more than once if every time they come and see you, you're just playing the record.
Yeah. It's the same shit over and over. Yeah.
We don't get too crazy, like you said. We don't get too out there in a way that people wouldn't recognize it, and we don't want to we also take what we're doing very seriously. So we don't want we don't want to come off like, fuck it, if we do a shitty job, like it's just part of the show. We take it seriously. People are paying their hard-earned money to come to the show.
Absolutely.
So we want to make sure that they're getting an experience that, means something to them, but we also want to be able to make it unique and have it, be a moment in time that you can't just get from the record.
Absolutely, man. It sounds like you guys have the right mindset in this art form known as rock and roll that we all love and appreciate, and thank you for taking the time to talk to us, man. I know you got some new shit coming up, and I'll keep an eye out. And when that releases, let's do this again. And we are not opposed to having people on this podcast over and over again. So whenever you want to talk, let's do that. And hopefully we can see you out on the road soon. And maybe we used to do these, face to face too at shows and stuff. So we'll get back out to that too. So next time you guys come around, let's hook up and talk some more, man.
Yeah, that'd be great, man. Thank you guys for having me, and it was a nice chat. Hopefully we can do this again.
Well, definitely. I'll like I said, I'll keep an eye out, and I'll promote you guys as much as I possibly can. I'm trying to get everybody on the King Buffalo train.
Thank you so much, man.
All right, man.
Sean.
Stay well out there, and thanks again. Appreciate it.
Yep, you too. Take care.
Take it easy.